In 2019 and 2020, Starbucks workers throughout Philadelphia organized and took action to confront harassment, racism, and transphobia by management and customers alike. We fired racist and transphobic managers, won fair scheduling and staffing, served unfair labor practice charges, enforced Philadelphia's sick leave ordinance, and confronted policies that make workers vulnerable to assault. Starbucks retaliated hard with hour cuts, surveillance, harassment, slander, emotional manipulation, write-ups, interrogation, and firings.
After nearly a year, the National Labor Relations Board informed us they found merits in our complaints of retaliation. The next step is to decide whether to settle the case or take it to trial. To settle the case, Starbucks sent us their offer. $100,000 to waive reinstatement and be silent.
The whole point of organizing is to improve the working conditions of all workers, not to make some money as individuals. So we have sent Starbucks a counteroffer. We will only waive our right to reinstatement if Starbucks gives an immediate wage increase to all workers in the city of Philadelphia. A base rate of $17 for baristas and a base rate of $20 for supervisors, with no hour or staffing cuts and no minimum hour requirement for healthcare eligibility and tuition reimbursement.
Every step of the way, we are told to settle for the scraps we are thrown. When we need to work doubles to afford food and rent, we are told we're lucky to have a job. When we need to find shifts every week just to qualify for insurance and cover the premiums, we are told we should be grateful that Starbucks offers it. When we are exposed to unsafe work conditions, we are told that other places have it worse. When we experience harassment and discrimination, we are told that it's just what happens in the industry. We are told our only other option is to quit. But when we find a new job, we wind up in the same old situation in a brand new uniform.
The NLRB wants us to settle for the $100K. We are told that the Labor Board attempts to settle all cases by making workers whole. This almost always means waiving reinstatement in return for money. How can we ever be whole under this exploitative system? We know that no amount of money Starbucks offers will make us whole, but negotiating for improved conditions seems like a worthwhile compromise. But we've come too far to just settle. We've been through too much.
Just for speaking up, we have been harassed, poisoned, and surveilled in and outside of work. We've had our relationships sabotaged, our reputations torn apart, our hours cut, our income lost. Starbucks go to union busting tactics rely on a combination of rumor campaigns, gaslighting, emotional manipulation, police surveillance, and state repression. Even under normal circumstances, we have seen our fellow workers forced to work in unsafe conditions, harassed, and assaulted. Now baristas continue to work through the COVID-19 pandemic. We know the company doesn't care about our well-being. Starbucks puts its workers through so much pain, and now they want to buy our silence. We will not be silenced, and we will not be bought.
Do we need this money? Of course we do. But what happens to all the people we fought alongside? What about all the people who suffered discrimination and harassment with no comrades to stand behind them? Should they all get nothing from this? What is the point of our struggle if it simply ends with a check for the loudest workers who lasted the longest? And will Starbucks keep paying workers to stop organizing? How will we ever win meaningful change if the people who hold most of the world's power and money can just pay people to stop fighting? We don't want to set a precedent of Starbucks workers only organizing until Kevin Johnson cuts them a big enough check. Starbucks is the second wealthiest fast food company in the world. They are in bed with world leaders. $100,000 is nothing to them.
It's only a victory if we win something for all workers. A gain for only white workers, male workers, straight workers, cisgender workers is not a victory. A gain for individual workers is not a victory. A gain for baristas is not a victory if it is isolated from coffee plantation workers, roasting and distribution plant workers, and in-prison laborers. We need to stand in solidarity with these other workers, and we can't just say it, we must show it. Corporations and the government will continue to pay people to stay silent. That's why we've got to be louder than ever.
We all know the fear. We cannot really win against Starbucks. They are too strong, they are too rich. Eventually, we will have to give up. Corporations, the NLRB, and even people who call themselves our allies say that the only thing we proved is that Starbucks is powerful enough to beat anybody who challenges them. If this is true, why are they offering two workers $100,000 to stop organizing?
Despite what Starbucks might tell us, and despite what we might tell ourselves, our power was not an illusion. When workers unite together, we have strength. We must face our fears with courage and belief that our united action is powerful enough to win. Even though we failed at creating a Starbucks workers union in Philadelphia, we learned the lesson that our collective action is more powerful than Starbucks. We proved it's possible to get rid of abusive bosses, then stare upper management in the eye and have them run away. We proved that the weak can defeat the strong. We must take this lesson and apply it across all stores, across all companies. We must not allow billionaires to pay us to stop fighting. We must be courageous and face the almost impossible odds. We must organize. We must struggle. We must win. We have no other choice.